Today marks 1594 day of the lessons, day reflections, and today we speak about life paths. Such an interesting topic, life paths. And I realized that life path is a beautiful thing to choose direction of a life. But what's great about life paths that you're able to really move to one life path and have to redirect yourself. So that means that life paths could be based on your season. So maybe you said that seasons could be from 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, from 40 to 50. That means the most important priorities, the things that you stand for, the non-negotiables of your life path, of your direction, might changed, might be changed. And I think that sometimes it's gives you freedom. Freedom to pursue this path with all your heart because you know at some point you will be able to change it. At this point is the most important thing, and not supposed to judge yourself. Because sometimes you look like, oh, I want this one and I want this one. Yeah, but which one do you want first? Maybe you don't say no to it, but maybe say not yet. And that's a beautiful thing. Beautiful. So today we'll share seven paths that every single person is able to choose from and build on that. So number one is the builder. That means that create things that matter. That could be a business, it could be companies, systems, technology, anything that could be built. And I think that the biggest truth for this is that if you can't stand to work for somebody else, of course you will need to be a builder. They are builders, people who build, who create, who transform. There's a lot of people who just can't work for someone else, and there's a lot of people like this. And then you just like it, I will be a builder. Now you just need to say that, okay, if I'm builder, what I will need to take on. So that means that most likely will be high stress, high percentage of failure, potentially massive impact. But at the same time, it could be other things could suffer. Maybe relationships suffer. Maybe uncertainty kicks in. And I think that understanding what you potentially take on is extremely important. There's of course more freedom opportunities, wealth potential, but at the same time, every single path will have upsides and downsides. And I think it's a beautiful thing when we really discuss now, like which path you're able to choose. That okay, like what downsides would I'm willing, which downsides I'm willing to take on, and upsides, of course. Number two, the master, and that is like become world class and one skill. Sometimes people say like I want to be a master, but after 3 years, they kind of quit on building that skill set. If you want to be a master again, you need to allocate a whole season, 10 years at least, maybe even 20 years on developing that skill set. And this is interesting that it needs to be obsession, narrow focus on that one skill set. If you want to be master, you need to be focused on that one thing that you are developing. Maybe you will in the future will be able to combine it with other things, but now that needs to be focused on that. And one thing that probably the worst downside is a slower reward. To achieve mastery is slower reward. So like it's easy to get to the mediocre level, but to get out of mediocre to extraordinary level is quite difficult. And I think that's one thing is that until you are at that master class, you most likely will be underpaid. But you when you reach that mastery, that extraordinary level, you overpaid because nobody else are able to do the things that you're able to do. And I think that when the thing that you get out of it, of course, is a true respect, true expertise, deep fulfillment. There's a beautiful path, but not every single person would able to choose that. Number three is explorer. An explorer is maximizing life experience, and that's a person that when I say that this could be seasons of life, maybe from 20 to 30, that is a season of life experiences, going out and traveling, experience. Now, it could be a different season. It could be 30, 40, 40, 50, 60, 70. I just gave an example. But I think that the explorer could not be the life explorer, even though there will be some people who will choose the path for life explorer. They always explore, they always see. Now, it could be less financial stable because you always explore, unless you have a build path with it. And then, of course, there's a lot of people who are really doing very well with that now, especially when there's social media available and they share their journey with other people. And sometimes I think that every single person wants to have some kind of roots. And when you explore, sometimes you don't have roots, don't have the foundation, you don't have home. Everything is just exploring. So it's a great place to be at some point in life, but in my perspective, not a great place to end your life. Number four, the wealth strategist. And that means that's optimize for money. And that means it doesn't matter. Like this is could be sometimes a combination with other things because that means investing money. Real putting money to work, like investing in real estate, investing in stocks, investing in index funds, investing in gold, silver. It doesn't matter, like investing everywhere and looking how to leverage your money. You can be employee, you can be business owner, and always looking how to leverage your money. Now, one thing is that can feel empty if you just money because money, love of money is all evil in general. But when you really do the for the right things that you of course you want to experience, you want to provide, you want to be a better human being, at that moment, of course, this path is a great thing because you are investing, you are leveraging things, you are making money for the bigger things, not just money itself. Number five is the leader, influence people and institutions. No, not every single person will choose it either because you need to take responsibility for yourself and for others. And I learned that early on that not every single person wants to take responsibility. I used to think that every single person really wants to take responsibility. But after speaking with a lot of people, because I just don't want, I want just to work in my job and don't get even a raise because I don't want to take more responsibilities. And I think that I always loved responsibility from early age, and I sometimes even think that it's a nature and nurture. And for me, it always was for some reason I always wanted to take a little bit more responsibility. Partly is of course as nature as well, but I think it's partly is nature. It was built within me to want take responsibility. But one thing that there's a lot of downsides as well of wanting to take responsibility. There will be more feedback, and that responsibility could be sometimes hard. I think that is a beautiful thing because you have meaning, more meaning in life. You have real power. You have ability to shape the world, and then that brings significance and purpose in life. And I think it's a beautiful path. And sometimes I think that we need the leader. We always think about a massive leader who leads organizations, but sometimes being a leader for one person, I think that's is more than enough. Number six is the sage. And this is an interesting one. I've been in this stage life path of the sage, pursue truth and wisdom, pursue truth and wisdom for probably the last couple of years. And that means that understanding life, reality, yourself, human conditions, and really seeking the truth beyond decisions, seeking the truth. And this is something that's a lonely season because not a lot of people willing to really invest time in developing understanding on the truth, inner peace, perspective, wisdom. There are so many words, quiet life. And society undervalue this path a lot of times. I think that there is not a lot of people who are great sages. And I think that even when I look into a lot of great leaders, and the first person that came up in my mind was Tony Robbins. Of course, he is a builder and he is a leader, but I think that he has a lot of sage in him as well because he has a lot of truth that he developed within his life, and I think that is a great place to really allocate some years of your life to really to the sage path, to understand the truth about yourself, about people, about world. I probably invested a little bit more time, and I think that's again beautiful thing when you said, okay, I invested my time to be a sage for a season of my life. I'm ready to be a builder. I'm ready to be a leader. I'm ready to be something else. And I think that is a beautiful thing. Or maybe I said that I was a leader, but I want to really step down a little bit. I want to really pursue the truth. I want to be a sage for this life and season. So that's again a beautiful thing. When you look into those paths, it's like I was a leader. There's a lot of people dependent on me. But now I want to really be a better leader. I want to really pursue the sage path, develop my truth understanding, and then when I will come back, I will be even a better leader than before. And the last one, and I truly believe this is always the most important one, is the community builder. And that's family, relationships first. And I think that it's not about status, but I think that's when I think that we had a conversation with friends about ambition, and sometimes being the best dad in the world is you can be the most ambitious person. And this is a beautiful thing when you're able to like, I will be the best dad in the world. I will not be recognized by other people, but I will be recognized by the face and by the smile of the kids. That's my recognition that I will seek. That's my ambition. And this is a beautiful ambition. Seeking deep connection. And this is, again, this is emotional fulfillment. This is emotional fulfillment that we're talking about, really adding value to community. I mentioned about kids, but I think that sometimes we're able to really be community builders, that we going and serve community around us. And that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. At the end of life, I think that relation matters more than anything else. So I think that when we look into life, it could be that we pursued all other paths at the beginning of life, but when we go more to the end of our lives, I think that we always need to direct more and more and more time into that community builder path. So I hope you reflect as well. What path are you on right now? And are you happy about your path? Do you need to adjust your path? And I think that sometimes you need to understand that if you try to build two paths at the same time or three paths at the same time, that it is not aligning. We will not have neither one neither other one. And somebody say like, I'm giving up this path for 5 years, for 10 years, for 3 years to develop this one path. So after I've developed this path, I will be able to move to other path. And I think that is a much better way to do with paths than combining things that are not combining whatsoever. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.